This is episode 136 of the Beyond the Food Show, and today we answer a listener question, and it goes as follows. How to give myself the permission to be imperfect? If it's you and you want to know the answer, stay tuned. My name is Stephanie Dodier, clinical nutritionist. I reversed my diagnosis of anxiety, depression, adrenal fatigue, and obesity by going beyond the food. I can tell you one thing, that willpower, discipline, and deprivation aren't the permanent solution to transforming your relationship to food. So how do you leave overeating, emotional eating, food craving, and binging behind you so you have the food freedom to achieve all of your goal and be happy now? As a top 25 alternative health podcast in the world, this is the Beyond the Food Show. Hey ladies, Stephanie Dodier, and today's episode, we're going to talk about the art of being imperfect. And this question came from a post that I did on Instagram about my body. And I did a whole podcast on that, which was actually the previous podcast. So if you haven't listened yet to episode 135, you should start by that and then come back to this episode. And you're going to get a lot more insight as to why this question came up. And it is a question that a lot of us have in the background, but we don't dare to come forward and ask it. It's a question that I see all the time with my student in the Going to Beyond the Food Academy. They seek the permission to be imperfect, but they just don't know it yet. When they begin the process, it's buried inside of them, and they're really trying to control their food, to lose weight. But in fact, what they really want is the ability to be happy today. And this ability to be happy today will only come from us being imperfect, because the striving for perfection is a cause of unhappiness. So the more we strive for perfection, the more unhappy we feel, and the more we keep searching for this magical answer at the end. Meanwhile, what we're seeking truly is happiness. What's the feeling behind weight loss that we're really chasing is to be happy, to be accepted. It's possible to have all of that today. And that's what the student in the academy are finding through the program, is that they can be happy right now if they only give themselves permission. And there is a student that came to the academy that know that right off the bat. They just want to know how to give themselves permission to be imperfect. And then there's the other one who is probably a portion of you listening right now who don't even know that they're searching for perfection, and they can actually be imperfect, and that's totally okay. So if you're either one of those people, you want to listen to the podcast today, because we're going to talk about the two group of people, the people who are ready to be imperfect today and the people who may not know that's what's holding them back. So it's for both of you. Now, I'm going to provide you with 3-step and the permission to be imperfect today. So if you're ready, girls, let's do this. Here's the question from Jolene, and it's addressed to me directly. I see you, Stephanie, as being yourself, and it is very inspiring. I want to be me too. I want to stop eating in my car so that I can pretend that I eat perfectly. I want to go to the lake with my family and friends and enjoy tubing, but that involves wearing a bathing suit and showing my, air quote, ugly body. I guess from what I'm really afraid is being found out and people not liking me because I am not perfect. Can I ever solve this problem? Jolene, yes. And yes, you can. I'm giving you the permission to be imperfect. Right now, right here, you have my permission. But really, I can give you the permission, but what you truly need so you can be you today is to give yourself the permission to be imperfect. But as you said, one of your biggest struggle is the fear of being found out. So let's address that. And the best way for me to address that is through my own journey. That's what I do the best. I'm a storyteller and I share my life. So let's go back to a week ago or 10 days ago by now, in the middle of May 2018, where I shared this photo of me in a bathing suit publicly. And in the post that I wrote, I declared that I was giving up being perfect, that I was body neutral when it comes to my body image. And I was sharing all of this with you, that I was grateful for my body and compassionate. But really, as I was writing the post, I was viscerally fearful. I was fearful of your reaction. Imagine you being in a bathing suit, Jolene, in front of your family and them seeing your body for what it is. I had the same exact reaction in you looking at my body and saying, who is she to be teaching us about relationship to food and nutrition when she's really overweight? That's what was going on in my head as I was writing the posts. My subconscious mind was in full survival mode, but I still did it. I was extremely emotional about it, and I was worried and I was scared, but I still did it. And that's the one thing I want you, Jolene, and all of you who want to have the permission to be imperfect, is that it will only come when you allow yourself to be found out, to be seen. That when you allow yourself to dance with your fears. Just like I did in writing that Instagram post sitting in my cruise ship room, because I was teaching on the cruise ship that day when I decided to post that. I was sitting on the floor of my cabin and I was feeling all those emotions, but I knew that I needed to do it. Although this fear of being found out, oh my God, it's not just since I'm a nutritionist, it's been with me forever. I mean, my entire corporate career was built on my fear of being found out, that I wasn't good enough. And if you haven't yet listened to my whole journey, you can go back to podcast 101, where a friend of mine, Sean Croxton, interviewed me about my fear of rejection, my fear of being found out, dating back to when I was 15 and showing up big time in my corporate career. And guess what? Today, still in this new business, this new career, it's still showing up. But the difference this time is that I understand how my conscious and subconscious mind function. And I know it's never going to go away unless I push through it, unless I feel the fear, feel the emotion, ride the wave of that fear-based emotion, release it and let it go. So here's to all of you trying to understand how to overcome your fear. Where does it come from? Where does this feeling of fear to be imperfect comes from? It comes from your survival brain, your part of your brain that allowed you to survive up to this day, that allowed the human species to survive up to this day. One of the primary need of the human being is being part of the tribe, being accepted, being quote unquote normal so they are accepted. That's one of our basic human being needs. When we perceive a situation in which there's a possibility of rejection, our brain is saying, no, you ain't going there because you're risking to be rejected by the tribe. And this is a no-no for us as human beings. It's a risk. Your brain doesn't understand that you showing up in your bathing suit won't get you killed. It just knows that it's not part of your comfort zone and that you're feeling potential rejection. So it will trigger a whole bunch of fear in your head. And for most of us, and for me, for most of my life, I responded by shutting down, by hiding out, by not being the true self that I was, by fear of rejection. Being perfect, seeking perfection is a response from our survival brain, our mind, our capacity to survive, to be accepted by the tribe. Our tribe is today's society, is what we see in the magazine, is what we see on social media as this perfect body, this perfect way of eating. And we, as women, respond to that or seek to respond to that and judge ourselves for not being this perfect thing, body, female image that we think is going to get us accepted by the tribe. The thing is, although we may not respond to those fake societal standards, it won't get us rejected from the tribe. But our brain thinks it will. We have to be aware that it is not true. We will not get rejected by our family, by our friend. We will not end up living alone on an island if we show up in our bathing suit. If we're not perfect eaters, and if we eat like everybody else around us, it will not get us rejected. So you have to know that consciously, realize that subconsciously you will fear the fear, you will feel it, but you will face it and learn to dance with that fear and push forward and show up at the Lake Jolene in your bathing suit for a good tubing session and have a freaking blast. We have tons of testimonial in the Going to Beyond the Food Academy of women who have bought their first swimsuit in 20 years or have worn a swimsuit for the first time in 10 years because they weren't allowing themselves to do it. And from there, they were cutting off from all the relationship with their family and friend for not being in bathing suits. Like they were missing out a lot. And by going through the academy, recognizing this whole mechanism that I'm talking about, building their self-esteem and their self-confidence, they are able to be imperfect in public, in front of their family and their friend, and enjoy life and happiness now. So here's 3 steps in which you, Jolene, or any one of you who want the permission to be imperfect today need to work through. Number 1, self-acceptance. We are born enough. We are born perfect. We are born with an able body, most of us, right? If you're not handicapped. So you are born with this ability to go through life, but the story, the belief, the trauma that you have in your head plays louder and prevents you from accepting yourself the way you are right now. We talk about here in the Going to Beyond the Food community as body neutrality, moving from body shame, going to a place where we accept our body as is with gratitude, moving towards body positivity. So go back to the last podcast if you want to know more about that. But self-acceptance is the first step to have the permission to be imperfect. We're going to take a quick break from our chat to give a shout out to our show sponsor, Health IQ. And I am so excited to be partnering with them and bringing you forward an innovative insurance company for the American listener. Health IQ helps health-conscious people like yogis, runners, cyclists, weightlifters to get lower rate on their life insurance. Just like you save money on your car insurance for being a good driver, Health IQ saves you money on life insurance for living a health-conscious lifestyle. Isn't it time that we get rewarded for our good health choices? Now, how do you get started? Very simply by qualifying through the Health IQ quizzes. And also, listen to this, if you submit actual training data through the various apps available, you can save additional dollars. To get started now, simply go to stephaniedodier.com/health IQ and take the test to see if you qualify. And when you get to speak to an agent, mention the code Beyond the Food to support the show. So get started now on saving money on your life insurance. Now, a shout out to our other show sponsor, Muse. And I'm very grateful to team up with Muse to bring you the first tool in the world to help you learn to meditate at home. Muse is a wearable brain sensing headband that measures our brainwave and sends the feedback to an app on our personal device. I love my Muse because it transformed my meditation practice. I wear it daily for my 10-minute session in the morning, and it coaches me through my practice by giving me real-time feedback on what's happening in my brain and helping me refocus during my meditation. I love this partnership with Muse because it brings the tool to the first timer and it helps expand the practice of the more advanced meditator. So it's time for you to get your Muse on and learn to calm your mind through meditation. And here's the thing, as a listener of the Going to Beyond the Food show, you get 15% off of the purchase of your Muse. To take advantage of this offer, simply go to stephaniedodier.com/muse. And again, the URL is stephaniedodier.com/muse and register through this URL to get 15% off. So join me in my 10 minutes meditation practice every morning and get our Muse on and go beyond the food together. Step number 1 was self-acceptance. Step number 2 is ceasing comparison. Right now, right here, stop comparing yourself. We somehow hold the belief that others have it easier while we struggle. We have the belief that something is broken within us. That's why we cannot be like the other. And we're constantly comparing our food behavior, our body, our clothing, our hair, our skin. We need to stop comparing. We need to live our life for ourselves. And it is a learned behavior because society teaches us to compare ourselves. I mean, social media, let's talk Instagram for a minute, right? If you don't watch your feed and what comes into your feed, you'll be like populated by image of perfect life and perfect woman body and perfect food. And you will come to a point of looking at this and say, what's wrong with me? Why can I not live like this? So you have to be aware of your desire to compare and take action not to compare yourself. A couple of quick tips here. If you are on any kind of social media, unsubscribe to accounts to people who are consistently showing you perfection and or triggered to compare your food behavior, triggered to compare your body. It is not worthy to follow those people because they are pushing you into the state of constant comparison. And the same thing for moms, right? And I'm not a mom, but I work with a lot of moms. And they all express the need to be the perfect mother all the time. There's nobody perfect, right? The other moms are struggling as much as you, getting everything done and having the perfect little kids. So stop comparing yourself to other families. Get back to focusing on your own self. The same goes with your body, right? Practice body neutrality. Stop comparing. Look at your body and find element for each part of your body that you can be grateful for. So step number 2, stop comparing. Step number 3, be brave. Bury the image of the perfect wife, the perfect mother, the perfect body, the perfect diet, and uncover yourself. Uncover this innate ability that you have to be courageous and to be brave. Being brave, being courageous simply means that you learned to dance with your fear. It's one of my favorite quotes. That you are not waiting for not feeling the fear, because it will always be there, to do something. You're not waiting to not feel the fear to show up in your bathing suit, to post a picture of you on social media. You're not waiting to feel the perfect moment where you will feel courageous. You are just pushing through it. Being brave, being courageous is not going to be a pretty, easy, and fun experience. It's going to be messy. It's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to be frightening. It's going to be hard, but also rewarding. When you stop attempting to be perfect and you give yourself the permission to be you, the imperfect, beautiful you, you will feel complete relief. You will feel like magic has taken over your life. So if you're seeking that sense of freedom, that happiness in the moment, do those 3 things. Self-acceptance, cease comparison, and be brave today. If you think that it is something that you need help with achieving, you can consider looking at the Going Beyond the Food Academy. This is what we do. You come in thinking that it's about the food when really it's behavioral challenges that you are having, skill set that you've forgotten to practice, but they're inside of you. All we do is help you uncover the real you. And a consequence of that is that you're no longer using food to regulate the emotion of unhappiness, of sadness, of frustration, because you're trying to be this perfect person that you'll never be. So the Going to Beyond the Food program, the Academy, is this environment that will reteach you those skill sets in a secure, safe environment with a community that are all going towards the same thing. So we're not going to feed you the need to compare yourself of food rules or how to be. We're going to provide you the environment that you need to thrive in rediscovering yourself and stop using food to regulate your emotion. So if it is something that you need help with, we are open in the Academy for registration until June the 8th, 2018. If you're listening to that at a later date, you can still put your name on the waiting list if we're not in registration time, and you'll be able to know when we reopen the door. My hope is that this podcast or the further training in the Going to Beyond the Food Academy will give you, the listener or Jolene, the ability, the courage, the permission to be imperfect, to join me in the world of imperfection so that you can feel joy, bliss, happiness right now, today. So Jolene, I am giving you the permission to be imperfect, And I'm asking you to practice self-acceptance, stopping the comparison, and being brave and learning to dance with your fear. I hope you enjoyed this episode, ladies. If you think this message can be of any help to other women in your circle, in your life, please share it with other women. This is not the type of message that we're seeing in social media and in high consumer marketing, because it's an underground message. It goes against everything that makes a lot of money out there, the food industry, the weight loss, the fitness industry. So it needs an underground movement to rise up. So please share this episode with other women in your life. You can share the episode by directly going to the website at stephaniedodier.com/136 or from your listening device. All the link of everything that I talked about in today's episode, including the Going to Beyond the Food Academy, can also be found on the website, stephaniedodier.com/136, or within the show notes on your listening device. Thank you very much for being here with me today. I love you, and I look forward to see you on the next podcast. And we're going to talk about another hot topic, how to find the time to care for yourself. Another hot one. I'll see you on the next show. Did you know that 9 out of 10 women are struggling with their relationship to food? Overeating, emotional eating, binging, and craving are real. Clearly, the solution we have been taught aren't working. I believe to have food freedom, it means that we must learn to have a relationship with our hunger so we can finally be at peace with food and eat normally without guilt or shame, which is why I wrote the Crave Cure Guide. I want to show you how to have a completely different relationship with food so that you can be in control of what you eat, achieve your goal, and be the powerful woman you were meant to be. The best part is, this book and the step-by-step process is absolutely free. To receive your free copy, simply go to stephaniedodier.com/guide and we can get started right now.